Welcome back to Loose Air Lifestyle. I haven't been on for a bit. Got busy and no excuse, but here I am, and been noticing I've been doing some videos about things I've learned in life. And what I did notice is when I did my old truck talk on my powerstroke, I got way more views. So I've always wanted to kind of do more truck content. And figured, hey, well, this is a good time to do a top 10 reason why I love my powerstroke 6.0. So join the show. So if you don't know, basically I own a 2006 6.0 powerstroke. That is I bought it almost 3 years ago. It was from the original owner. I bought it from the mechanic that bought it from him. And it sounded like the reason why the guy sold it was because it wasn't a big enough truck to tow a fifth wheel or something like that. So anyway, I ended up purchasing it. I think I had about 180,000 miles on it. It might have been actually less than that, 175,000. And I've done a thing or two on it. Bulletproof minus the head studs. So anyway, so this is the truck, and again, going into the top 10 reasons. So number one reason why this truck is great and why I love it is it's cheap. If you haven't already looked around on the internet and you see the cost of used trucks, especially the last 2 years, it's ridiculous, and people are selling junk for a lot of money, and I guess people are buying it because the prices are like that. So what I've noticed is I bought this truck for $15,000 in April of 2020, and probably with all the money I put into it, which is probably upwards of $15,000, I'd put it back on the market for exactly how much it sold. So terrible financial, I guess, decision, but I'm not selling it, so what do I care? But anyway, yeah, it's a cheap truck. You can get into one of these, for a small amount of money, and as you can see, hopefully the video does it justice. It's clean. The interior looks nice, which I'll show you. There's hardly any dents in it. It's just that people are afraid of these motors, and I think they're kind of wrong with it. So yeah, that's my number one reason. I don't call it the number one reason, but it's a darn good reason. I don't know if there's these are in particular order. The second reason, or a reason, is that this truck is loud. Even when I had the stock exhaust on it, you turn that truck on, you can hardly have a conversation. If I go through a drive-through, which I never do because I don't want to waste my time, but when I've had to turn it off to hear them. And I don't know about you, but I like loud trucks, and this still exemplifies what I consider a diesel. It's loud, it's clunky. I'll get into the smells in the future, but that's probably the number 2 reason why I prefer to drive this truck and why I like it so much. Another reason why I think I like this truck is, ultimately, I think it still looks like a truck. I mean, the grill still looks like the truck. I know there's a shadow there, but you've seen it. The headlights still look like a truck. And you look in the cab. Let's see if this door's open. Cab still looks like a truck. It's not fancy. It's got some modern buttons, some switches. It's an aftermarket radio, but it looks like a truck. It's not a car. It's got an option to make it look like a bench seat, although it's got a center console. I want a truck as a truck. I don't want a car. I don't want a luxury item. Otherwise, I'd buy a car. And I think that's something that modern trucks are missing these days. People are too into the luxuries. I'm kind of going back. Oh, sorry, I got a book here. I'm trying to hide from you guys. One moment. The next reason, it's supposed to be number 4. It has no def. If the 6.0s came with an EGR, which have their problems, and I'd love to get rid of mine and bought a kit for it actually, but I'm not gonna put it on because I don't know how. But you know, you go under the truck here and you got a pesky catalytic converter, but after that it's straight piped all the way to the end of the exhaust. There's no def. This is not expensive. That's loose, look at that. Better fix that. Yeah, all in all, that's a fantastic reason. You know, especially living here in the state of California, hopefully they don't ever ask me to sell my truck, and if they do, that's a good reason to move. Another major reason, I've driven a Duramax before, and typical Duramax or typical GM, they've got a square wheel well, and as you can see, I got a round tire, so that doesn't work too well for trying to put big tires in there. So I had to do a big 4-inch lift to get 33s in there. And so recently I had some troubles with my steering wheel shaking back and forth, and took it to a reputable shop, and they took a look at it and said, I just think you need new tires. So got some 35 by 12.5 Toya mud terrain 35s. They were 30, I think I had 34s in there before, and still have some pretty decent tire clearance, and I don't get any rubbing, and that's all with a stock suspension and no lift, no leveling kit, nothing. All right, let's moving on. So number six reason, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit, no one likes these trucks. Everyone is scared of these trucks. They think they're a pile, and that's why they're cheap, like I told you. But the reason why they don't like these trucks is because they are problematic, and really smart people in the aftermarket world have seen these problems with these trucks, and they've made some fixes. They made O-ring fixes. I think actually Ford did that help with all the high pressure oil system. They made an EGR that is a better EGR. They've made remote oil coolers. This truck has a remote oil cooler that's an air to oil cooler to get rid of the problem with the original oil cooler. You know, like I said before, head studs. Even, you know, there was a problem with lifters, and it sounds like Ford kind of fixed that problem by putting in shorter, what do you call it, shorter push rods, and apparently that's going to help with the lifters. So there's fixes for all the problems they have. Even if it was Duramax had an LV7, and there's nothing you can do to fix the injectors. So you're going to have to put new injectors in there ever so often, and there was no aftermarket fix, and that's one of the reasons why I got rid of my truck, although I probably shouldn't have, because I've overall spent way too much money on diesel trucks. I'm looking on my list here. This is a good one. I'm old enough to remember in 2008 when the whole market crashed and GM, Chrysler lost everything, had to ask money for the government just to support their business, and Ford never did that. They must have made enough financial good decisions that at the end of the day they still had equity in a business and never asked for money. The next thing, you know, and I alluded to when I first got it, the truck was a single owner truck. I didn't buy it from the guy. Again, it was the guy that was the mechanic. Sorry, there's a neighbor here. I didn't want him to look at me talking to you in the video. Bought it from the mechanic. The mechanic was the guy that sold it to me, but a single owner truck. Apparently the guy's meticulous. I was told that the brake pedal, which often gets worn on that right side, that the guy was so meticulous that he wanted the brake pedal changed so it looked appealing. So it was the kind of detail the guy put in. The next thing, which is going to put me at number 9, the guy that I bought it from was the mechanic for the truck for the last 8 years. And, you know, I really wasn't looking to get a 6. I really wanted to get a Dodge. And I ran across the guy who told me he was selling this truck, and I knew that when you're buying a used truck, you run into a lot of problems. And one of the bigger problem is you never know what the owner did to the truck. You don't know how he treated it, and I felt as though this was a great opportunity to have a used truck where I knew what happened to the truck, at least for the last 8 years. And it gave me a bunch of peace to know that I make a purchase like I did, that I wasn't going to get screwed over in the long run. Number 10, this is the number 10 reason. You can see my garage there. So I am big on keeping trucks out of the elements. I hate having trucks in or outside the garage. I think it makes the house look terrible. But most importantly is that the body suffers. So whether it's the heat, whether it's the cold, I think especially the heat, just pounds it and just destroys it. Sun kills. So I love that on a stock height with 35s, I can still get my truck in my garage. And I can also get my wife's Yukon XL in this garage too. I think it's just going to increase the longevity of the paint, not screw up the interior, and it's just something that I really, really like. And then number 11, I don't think it's my number one reason, but the number 11 reason I added on this is that I like the fact that no one likes these trucks. I'm a contrarian by heart. I enjoy doing things that the majority of people don't like. I love that people look at these trucks and they think they're trash. They're not trash. I think there's some great value you can have in it. I do think that you're going to spend more money than the upfront cost is. You're going to be spending money to make it reliable, but I think once you do, I think it's worth it. To be honest with you, I've worked a little bit on the Duramax. I actually feel like this has, you can see the things in the engine compartment way better than you can on a Duramax. Cummins is Cummins, of course. Totally different ball, but it's not a bad engine compartment to work on. So anyway, I'm gonna be posting more videos like this. I'm probably gonna do a top 10 reasons why I don't like my powerstroke 6.0. I'm gonna be doing some work in the future. What I want to do, I want to change my exhaust tip. Just basically blowing black smoke all over the body. It's pissing me off. I have to clean it. And then the wiring loom, which is a common mess up on these Powerstrokes, that goes basically right above the turbo. It's plastic and it cracks. And there's a company that makes like an aluminum wiring loom that can be beneficial. So that's my next couple steps of this truck. Like I said, I put 35s on recently. Spent $600 a tire, which was ridiculous, but I should have them for a while. So that's what you should expect for the future. I'm still gonna keep posting videos about life and stuff like that because I enjoy it. So anyway, I hope you like this video. We'll see you next time. You have a good day. Thanks.